today. So in the interest of staying on track, we'll skip the chairman's remark, go straight to approval of minutes from the last regular meeting, October 15th. Any questions on the minutes?
So move.
Kevin, second. Steve, all in favor? Okay, which brings us to communications of our CEO, Peter.
Sure. We have a number of items, all exciting and all fun, actually. The construction's going well. The steel's up. We'll talk about that more with our John LeClaire, Matt, and John O'Donnell. And we're moving the entryway to the road, which we can talk more about. We're doing our best to educate the public. As we move the big crane in toward the building, it's going to sit right where our current roadway is. So we have to curve the other road around it. And we're working very hard to make sure that that is going to serve the public well. So we can talk more about that later. We also have two folks here from TSA, Bart Johnson and Michael Kilcullen. They're going to address the board in executive session, and we can talk about the reasons for that as we go into executive session. But we did have the TSA had a press conference on Real ID, and I'm just going to go through a brief but fun exercise. Does anybody have their driver's license on them? Okay, Real ID, which is a federal requirement that's been around for a while, is getting enforced in April, is it?
May.
In May of this year, of this coming year. And you need to have a Real ID in order to even fly domestically. That's the requirement, correct?
Yes.
If everybody could look on their license, and if they have either a star or a flag on it, they'll be in good shape. If you have the star, you have Real ID, which meets the federal requirements. And you gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong. If you have the flag, you have a New York State enhanced license, which includes the Real ID, but also gives you some added benefits, making traveling to Canada and the Caribbean a little bit easier. And there may be some other benefits to the enhanced license. So I just, there's a public awareness campaign, and I thought we needed to do our part on that one. So anyway, new flights. We have a lot of good news with new flights. Allegiant announced a flight to Sarasota commencing Wednesday.
Valentine's Day, February 14th.
Okay, and that'll be a Monday and Wednesday flight. Monday, Friday flight. Okay, and that's a new region of Florida that's unpenetrated right now, which will be great. Avello, which is now flying to Raleigh, announced a flight to Concord, North Carolina, which is 20 miles east of Charlotte. And do you have the detail on that off the top of your head?
I believe it's Thursday.
Okay, that'll be Thursdays commencing.
That started November 7th.
Okay, great, thank you. And probably the biggest news, at least in terms of employment, is, and we've announced this already, is Nashville announced starting April 8th, their 2-month schedule going to Nashville 6 days a week, direct flights, which is exciting. It's a commitment to them going westward, not, southward is the easiest destination for the airlines. Going to Florida, but now they've made a 6-day commitment, and then they've announced their second 60-day segment, which they're adding a 7th flight. So that's very good news. And
That's Southwest.
That's Southwest, yeah,
Peter,
correct.
That's a 2-month window,
That's a 4-month window now. There's a first 2 months, which is April
starting April.
April 8th for 2 months, and then the second 2 months, yes, and they've added the 7th flight for the second segment. And you can look online. I think the flights are online, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that's that good news. Construction, we mentioned, John and Matt will get into that later. We've been working on finishes of the airport, which we want to share with the board. Signage, furniture, and the children's play area. We've been working with John, our architects, our engineers, Kathy Greenwood, and Sari's been kind enough to give her input. And in a sense, represent the board. So we will have more to report on that. That's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman. If there's any questions, we'd be happy to
Questions for Pete?
try to answer those. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, that brings us to our COO, John O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to start by talking about holiday preparations and our very responsive staff, Katie and Chris Pasquini, preparing the parking areas. I believe John Leclerc was done with the caulking.
Correct.
So our garage is all opened up. We've examined the E-lot, the economy lot, to make sure that we have sufficient parking for the holiday period. And also Ms. Pasquini will assure us that all of our shuttle buses are ready to go. We need 4 running at all times because this is one of our peak periods, November, Thanksgiving, and right after that, immediately after that is Christmas holiday spirit. So we need, in the years past, we filled up the entire lots. E-lot was filled, and we actually parked on the side of the roadways going down Signature. I haven't seen that yet, but Margaret tells us that our peak 2 months are have occurred, right? September and October, the highest we've ever had. So we may see a little bit of a change to our parking need coming this holiday session. Okay, so construction, the next 6 weeks ending January 1st, is going to be our most challenging period for construction. And that is because, as Peter stated, and John and I have been indicating, is the crane is going to move from the parking garage area to the terminal side. That's that 350-ton tower crane that you see out there now. And with that, we're going to have a rather significant lane change. Just when you thought all the dust is settled, we have everything under control, we're going to tip it upside down and we're going to move the lanes. So in the 2 areas of focus, movement of the crane is the vehicle traffic and the pedestrian traffic. For vehicle traffic coordination, we met with our erector, our schedulers, John Leclerc, Matt, Turner. All parties have had several meetings to facilitate this change. And we believe this is our best solution to moving the crane and to minimize impacts to the traffic. It involves signage, lighting, lanes restriping, which John was out there yesterday doing the lanes restriping.
The guy pulled it off right before the rain.
Yeah, trying to get it in before the rain, because at 9:15 today is when they're moving the lanes. So as we're sitting here, they're going to move the lanes, and this is going to be the 6-week period is the most critical, because after this 6 weeks, the crane will, I'm going to say, go away. It might be on site here, where you won't see any crane and lifting of steel until September 25. And that's after the checkpoint will be open and we'll be utilizing the queuing area. So the crane will have to come back to remove the escalators, where the escalators are, and do a floor over. So with the, if you can refer to the slide up here, what we have is 3 lanes, and we'll go down to 2 as we go into the commercial lane. And as you go through the commercial lane, you're going to go under the connector building. And this, when the project's complete, that will be the commercial lane. But we're going to use that those 2 lanes going under the building. And as you exit the center of the building, the passengers will be directed to go to the right, which once again will open up into 3 and 4 lanes, and the commercial traffic will go straight. And if you can hit the next slide, you can see, it's supposed to be one more slide. Okay, this is the slide. This is as you pass by the center of the building, you'll have 2 lanes under the commercial lane, and it will widen out into 3 as you go to the baggage side.
That's the toughest point. That's the toughest point that we're most concerned about.
Yeah, and it's a work in progress. We all put our heads together. We believe this is the best solution. If it needs to be tweaked, we can do that. We can make modifications on the fly as need be. The crane will be moving.
Crane's already moved.
We'll move to the terminal, but it also will be backing up.
Right.
With time between now and January 1st. So the 2 changes will be a 45-degree turns, which will be tight. We admit that. But the objective is to maintain as much curb side for the parkers, for the people that are dropping off and picking up. We want to maximize the curbside lanes. Okay, so that's the traffic. That's the vehicle traffic. Now we go to pedestrians. This is a different game altogether. Okay, so with the crane in its new position, It will be lifting steel to the second bay of the terminal. And if you look at this drawing right here, okay, where you see all the brick wall is all existing. When you see the yellow in the center, that is 2 bays back into the building. And if you look where the lift is the cage of the lift is the orange square, if you can see that from where you are. That is what we call the tunnel. Below there is where all the passengers, pedestrian traffic will move from baggage to ticketing on the first level. It's below there, if you can see that. Can everyone see where I'm referring to? So this is the tunnel right here. This is at the first level, and what you saw was above, looking down. So if you go back to the sign here, this is the sign. We have asked your patience while we ensure your safety. Construction activity is happening above. You cannot have any passenger traffic in that tunnel while you're lifting steel overhead for obvious safety reasons.
And we had a couple trial runs, right, already?
Yes.
Not trial, but actuality.
Yeah, actual, for removal, we did.
And it worked okay.
It
as far
worked
as
fine.
Yeah.
It's a matter of timing. We don't do it during the heavy passenger flow times. It's a matter of timing. We've given the contractor the schedules and the lighter flows to baggage claim and to ticket counters are. So they're timing their lifts around that.
Okay, and the pedestrian traffic through the tunnel will be suspended up to 4 minutes. We're hoping it's not a full 4 minutes because that'll feel like eternity if you're waiting there, and especially if the number of people does increase. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So we looked at the tunnel activity in 2 ways. We looked at it from departing passengers, those that are dropping off at ticketing, going through the checkpoint, departing, and also the returning passengers. What's important to note is the crane operation will be from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that's important because most of our departing passengers are here at the airport before 7 a.m. A major bulk of them, if you come here at 5, 6 o'clock, we have hundreds of people, I think it's up to 6,000, 7,000 during the holidays. We'll hit over 1,000 people will pass through this airport before 7 a.m. They do not need to go through this tunnel. They'll be dropped off at ticketing and go up through the checkpoint. The concern there, though, is, and we've got plans in place with Premier Investigation in the garage, because the people that get dropped off at the curb and ticketing have a clear path to the gates. The people that park in the garage and park in long-term parking may have an inclination to want to walk towards baggage claim. So we're going to station 2 individuals from Premier Investigations to push the people through ticketing so they don't get held up on the delay. Now this is only after 7 a.m. If they get here before 7 a.m., they can go, the tunnel's going to be open. And the number of pieces of steel that will be picked will start within a day or 2, or, okay, right, agreed? Wait, I asked these guys because the contractor can change based on weather and other unforeseen happenings. Yeah, okay, so Monday?
Monday.
Okay, John's saying Monday. So it's gonna be Monday. So those parkers in long-term and in the garage will be pushed so they can avoid the tunnel.
Yep.
Now the returning passengers. Now this is where we have staged 2 individuals, one each side of the tunnel. One's going to be talking to the crane operator, and the other one's going to be a Premier Investigation person. They're going to be coordinating with ops, knowing the planes are coming back, because our peak time for returns between 12 and 4 is between 12 and 1. We can get 4 planes coming back in that time, 150 passenger plane, again, have 600 people going through there. So the contractor, the erectors agreed, if the number of people gets too large, they will halt their activities, the crane steel movement, and let the people go through. They're working with us not to allow a great number of people to be congregating in the ticketing side before they go through the tunnel to pick up their bags and baggage claim. So that critical period of the crane erection overhead is 8 days total. It's not going to be full days. It's going to be intermittent based on the number of picks. We're looking at about 40 picks plus some pans, some incidental work that they may have to do, but it's not continuous. It's not on a continuous schedule. It's on an intermittent schedule over the eight days. But we're prepared to engage this activity and be attentive to it to diminish the impacts to the traveler. Once again, no one should miss a plane because of this. It's not going to affect the checkpoint. It's only going to affect the returning passengers that are going to baggage claim. And we're going to ask for their patience while we erect the steel. And there's no other choice. We investigated going outside. It doesn't work. This is the only pathway we can go from the gates to baggage claim. So if you have any questions regarding that, I'll gladly answer them.
Any questions for John?
Once again, it's 6 weeks. January 1. This is the most challenging part, the grade of the project. So it should go smoother after this.
Appreciate your report. Okay. CFO Margaret.
Right. Okay, September and October were the highest employments on record. I have October ready. So won't be presented until next month, but I have the numbers, so I thought I'd share them with you. A little bit of good news, looking at year-end projections, close to 1.5 million passengers. FBO gallons are on track, following the similar pattern what they've done other months. Operating revenues continue to be above budget, again following the same track of coming down off the summer. September's usually a little lag. Parking revenues, again, record-breaking months. Continue that trend. Rental car revenues, same, following the same pattern. Operating expenses have come down from the budget, which is a good thing. We're trying to mitigate those expenses at the curbside with help with John and Peter, which should help bring that down. Operating net profit, airport and FBO, higher than last year. We've had stronger performance this month than we did a year ago. Year-to-date operating revenues continue to grow, as stated before. Expenses are below budget. And line of credit draws. A couple weeks ago, we had no balance in the line of credit. Now we're back up to 3.1 million, and then we'll be following that up with a pay up to the state to get reimbursed for that. That should follow in a couple days. Follow up on a few major things we're working on, the status of the airline agreement. We had a good meeting with the airlines yesterday. Red line page turn of the agreement was mostly environmental issues and a few legal languages. A couple of other nits that I think we've agreed on with the airlines. So the red line agreement is in the airline hands for their comments. We hope to have back their comments within the next 30 days, maybe 60 days with the holidays. So we'll have that finalized way before the January 1, 2026 expiration. And the status of the budget. We had a finance committee meeting a couple weeks ago, and they're going to recommend that to the board today. That's that. Thank you.
Okay. Question for Margaret. Thank you, Margaret. Project development, John and Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as we stated, we'll be shifting lanes today. The crane has been moved over. They're currently, as we speak, moving the lanes around. So that will allow for the remainder of most of the steel to be done. Not all of it. There's the one section where the escalators currently are that we won't be able to do until later on. Meanwhile, MLB continues to work on pile caps, some concrete work that they have to do at the garage to finish out some of their foundation work. And then they are mobilizing to Lower B to do begin the child sensory room and the child play area. we've got them on board to that. We've had numerous conversations with them, and so that'll be starting. And then also the business center will work on that as well. School Steve, A concourse, the contractor is moving really well, except for a little foobar this morning, but they poured concrete yesterday, the first of 3 pours for the concrete apron for the new plane, for the new jet bridges. Next will be forming and pouring the foundations for the new jet bridges. And they're also pouring the foundations for the jet blast wall that goes along the corner to, when the planes push back, it won't blast the rocks out into the driving lanes along the terminal road. So that's that. Inside, they're finishing the rip out on the second floor and the first floor and moving along with that. So, I mean, that one's moving really well. Excuse me, replacement of boarding bridges A6, B6. I spoke to VRH. They are the contractor of record for this. They have the order in, and we're expecting delivery of A6 to be here in March. So in the meantime, I've got one of their subs coming up to help us get A6 back up. It's been out of service. We're going to get back in service so that United can use it for regional jets. So that'll be back up today. Runway 119, and then the perimeter road. So I actually have to go over to the tower today to have a conference with the FAA about the new threshold bars. I have the final design for that, so they got them. They have some questions. We'll go through their questions, and then I'll get to the contractor for pricing. The airlines have been pushing us quite a bit to narrow down the window of when exactly we're going to do a 7-day shutdown. I don't have a good enough Ouija board for that, but I'm working on it. But we did give them a window. I spoke with Callahan, and we gave them a window from the day after Memorial Day to 2 weeks into June. So it's like a 15, 16-day window that's what they're committed to hitting. So there's a lot of work that has to be done and prep before they can come in and shut down and just mill and fill. So Callahan's committed themselves to doing that. As long as the weather doesn't throw us a huge curveball with a snowstorm in the middle of April or something, they're committed to making that happen. So that's a good thing. Air traffic control tower, waiting on 2 parts. They're just motors for the fans, but everything is up and running. The AC is being done. We're getting ready to do a final balancing on that once the motors get here, and then we'll close that out by the end of the year. Main terminal elevators, I got confirmation that the new equipment for elevator number 11, which is the one to see concourse by JetBlue, it will be here in January, and they're committed to getting right in and starting that right away and working on that. Then the next one will be number 9, which is over by the B concourse by Lover, by the big ball rings and stuff. And then they'll jump to 11, which is the one further down that takes you down up to Bart's office and all that, way down by American, down that area. GA apron, moving forward with the design on that. I have a meeting with McFarland Johnson. They did all their test holes, all their borings and everything. So we're in really good shape with that. The FAA is really pushing. We need to have 90% drawings to them by the end of the year, and I don't see any issue with making that happen. So we're moving right along with that. So that's
Not our airport, no. We have no weed like that.
Oh, yeah. That's why we're doing it, because we do have weed. That pavement, and then lastly, just Uncommon Grounds. They're moving right along. I've been communicating with Mike Hoover, and I'm sure Helen has too. They're waiting on the equipment. He's expecting. I don't know how you do this, but he's expecting either December 1st and 2nd or December 17th and 18th. I'm not sure how you get the gap in there, but one or the other. He's anxious to get going. The inside is all been prepped and ready. They're just waiting for the equipment. The painting inside is done. All the sheetrock, all the work. And then it's hooking up the equipment and get them cleaned up and get them ready to go, get a CO and get them going. And then lastly is the Mausers. We're still, as I said, I have the threshold bars for the runway and the end of the blast pad, which are the 200-foot bars. We're still working. Connor and I had a conversation with the ATO from FAA, and we're still pushing. If somebody dumps out next year and can't make their deadline, we'll take it and get it done. We really want to get this done sooner than later. And I'll happily take any questions.
All right, questions for John? All right, John, I just on follow up on what you mentioned earlier. Great job, you, Matt, the rest of the staff on handling the issue this morning. And also to the fire department who were there within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
of the alarm hitting and mitigating it.
That was great, yeah.
So it was a great job by everybody. Happened to be here to see it, so impressive the way everybody reacted.
Everybody reacts, yeah. It's a good team.
Council, Chris.
Nothing for the public facing portion of the meeting, thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. All right, Helen, concessions ambassador.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the concession side of things, there are 131 employees. 76 are minorities, so that gives us a nice percentage of 58%. Revenue topped $1.4 million, so with 127 employments, this is September data. I don't have October in yet. That gives us $11.42 spent per person. The ambassadors have been very busy. Numbers are up. They love our K-9 program, so we're up to over 47,000 encounters with that. They have already volunteered almost 8,000 hours this year. They have served over 74,000 individual assists. Ambassador shifts are 2,700 plus, and the business center is busy and over 217 people. And that's just the ones that sign in. There's many that use it and we just don't know. As John mentioned, on Common Grounds, they're hoping to open by Christmas. Some things are getting in place, like their badging and stuff. So in fact, Mike will be picking up his badging and we're getting some signing authorities, and that will help us with future staffing and being able to escort people in to finish the process. Their walk-in cooler is actually coming either the 2nd or the 17th, I'm not sure. But this afternoon, I'm actually escorting in the refrigeration people, and we'll arrange for that to go into they have a new storage area down in lower A. The interior is beautiful, nice cherry finishes and stuff, so I think everybody will be pleased. And again, we're hoping for that Christmas opening, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Any questions for Helen?
No, just that I absolutely appreciate everything you do with dogs. I had the privilege of running into bringing on a new dog, and it was just really exciting to be part of it. I saw how people really just gravitate to it. Really nice program, and thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Public Affairs, Steve.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. In terms of traditional meeting month, a lot going on. Obviously, the first foremost, the new flight from here to Sarasota beginning on February 14th. One of the specialty aircraft that's usually here actually got some media coverage. We put a photo. That's Air Force 2, the C-32A. So there was a lot of attention about that. It actually drew some media attention from the traditional media. As Peter alluded to, we had a press conference here with Senator Ashby, TSA, the county executive regarding Real ID. Deadline for that again is in May. Assemblymember Stick was here. We did a walkthrough around the construction site with some of the media. Several construction updates on the media. Another flight going to Nashville, and the flight to Concord, North Carolina, also covered by the media. Another plane that we just simply posted on Facebook, but actually generated some media attention, was JetBlue's New York Jets plane. Apparently, there's a football team called the Jets. You wouldn't know it, but they've been playing football on Sundays. But when they're undefeated on landings, it's about it. This was a really touching story that came to our airport. Staff Sergeant John Herbert was a pilot who was actually was a gunner who was shot down in World War II over Germany in 1944. His body had been moved 3 times, 3 different countries. It was finally exhumed following investigation. They determined who he was. His 80-year-old son lives here in the capital region, and he never met his dad. He was born 16 days after his father was killed, but he got to bury his father in Saratoga National Cemetery. So that body came to this airport via Southwest Airlines, not just traditional media, but with some social media on that as well. Just a really touching story about a guy who never met his dad, but he finally got the land. So, and last but not least, a press release hit your inbox yesterday regarding treasure map. I want to thank Kathy Greenwood for all her assistance on that. That is a new sculpture that's coming to the airport. That's going to be made with leather from aircraft seating. That is a partnership with Southwest Airlines. I agree. You're going to do that at the end. At the end? You won't do it. We'll talk more about it. And there's that one picture is John Eric. Social media, a lot going on social media. The second photo on the right is that we were just talking about the World War II veteran that came home. I love to hand out candy, and Halloween was last month, so we did a lot in the terminal handing out candy. People in costumes, not just kids, but staff were in costumes, including a ramp agent who was dressed as a traffic cone bringing in a JetBlue plane. I didn't put that photo up there. That definitely happened. Air Traffic Controller Day, just a lot going on, just promoting all the great things that are taking place here at the airport on a daily basis. Pointer, the app clip is live. We're just working out some of the bugs. I have a marketing meeting with them tomorrow. We'll probably do a soft launch and then maybe a press conference in January after the first year to just let the public know what's going on. I've got to get some signage up. But the QR code is active. And again, this is not an app, it's an app clip. You scan the QR code, and you'll have a virtual version of the terminal, and you'll be a blue dot, and you just tell me, it'll just ask you where you want to go, take me to baggage, and it'll show you how to get there. So that'll be a new addition, especially with construction. It'll be very helpful. Construction updates, continue to stay consistent with the messaging. A video went out about drop-off pickup areas. John was talking about how we can utilize the parking garages. Because the first hour is free, so you can drop off and pick up in the airport. Some of the airport operations personnel helped me with that video. We got that out there. Video went out last night about the lane shifts as well as the hallway, the periodic closures. Just a lot of different information going out on social media regarding the construction. Social media insights over the 90 days, 1.1 million reach in Facebook, 83 posts over 90 days, and an engagement of 301.9 thousand. Instagram, 14,000 reach, 98 posts, and 1,100 confirmed for the engagement. Just keeping the website up to date. A lot of press releases went out. They've been added to the newsroom, and both construction pages, Concourse A and the terminal expansion page have all been updated. Any questions?
Any questions for Steve? That was
Great
a pretty
coverage.
lengthy list.
That's great. Good job.
Good job. All right, on to art and culture. Kathy Greenwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to just quickly follow up on Steve's mention of the press release you should have received yesterday regarding the development and site-specific installation due to be installed in May 2025. The artist is Ruby Palmer. She's a Hudson Valley artist. And Southwest Airlines Repurpose with Purpose program donated bales and bales of removed leather from their aircraft seating and shipped it to her studio for this project, which is going to be really stunning, and it will coincide with the anniversary of Southwest Airlines service to Albany, which the 25th anniversary will be in May. And so we're really excited about this development. This will be the first collaboration with Repurpose with Purpose toward the production of an art installation. They have typically donated to nonprofits for the production of products for sale. And so this is the first art collaboration, and we're very excited to pilot that at Albany Airport. I've been working closely with John and with Sari on developing signage for the expansion area, and that is in development. And Sari and I and Peter and others on our team have been working with Quality Office Environments, who is the furniture consultant and supplier for furniture for the new expansion for various areas of the terminal that are under development. And so that is under review, and we are trying to ensure that all of the furniture products that are ultimately selected are going to be equal parts durable, comfortable, and safe for all of our travelers for many years to come. So that's an ongoing process. And I can take any questions.
Any questions?
Where are they gonna put the new exhibition?
I don't have any answers to that.
You mean Southwest? Do you mean Southwest or no? Yeah, she knows Southwest.
Yes,
Yeah.
for the installation, that will be adjacent to the Southwest, on the wall, on the, adjacent to the Southwest ticketing area. So,
You know the big wall that's at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
so yes, that will be the location.
All right. Thank you, Kathy. We appreciate looking for comfortable seats.
Well, I will say this, we heard what the board said and we've convened and reconvened and hopefully with Sari's guidance and help and Kathy's obviously and John's, we'll have a
They'll
response.
be comfy.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt. I've been sitting in those seats for hours at a time. I like comfort.
Yes. And that's part of the process. To make sure that, because as you update it, to make sure that people can charge and that will be.
Okay, on to our action items. We'll start with 10.1. Chris?
Thank you, Chairman. This is a request for lease number L1217, 22 Jetway Drive, which is building 119. It's office space with Commute Air. Commute Air is one of our MROs, our maintenance repair operations here. They have a heavy presence here at the airport. They currently lease the 2 large hangars to the northwest of the terminal, which was approved by the board for renewal last month. This goes for office space, and the office space will be in the Piedmont building that you see. Well, it has Piedmont, the name Piedmont on it, but so Piedmont leases part of that building, the hangar, and Commute will be leasing the office space, which is $4,038 per month, which is a little over $48,000 per year. There will be an additional utility charge on a monthly basis currently, and it's assessed based on usage. Currently, it's about $450 a month. There will be a 3% escalator on that, as the agreement is for a period of 5 years. So we're looking for approval on that, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Chris? No questions. I'll take a motion for approval. Steve, Sari, all in favor? Okay. Thank you. 10.2, Margaret.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I start my long list here, I just would like to give a little bit of thanks to Bobby Matthews for preparing these RFPs, gathering all the information, and getting us where we are today. I think we make a good team. Item 10.2 is for an independent contractor to provide our HVAC services for the airport. We go out to bid and we ask for qualified proposers to do work as needed outside of our employee work. They're independent contractors. We've received 4 responses, and we'd like to award to 2 of them, BPI and Eckert. There are current ones that are here at work, and they're used to the airport. They know how to get around, and recommend approval to Eckert and BPI.
Okay, we have recommendation. Kevin is in favor, second, Sari, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 10.3, you're right, Margaret. You're up for a while.
Thank you. Item 10.3, authorization requested to purchase a new sweeper from Guthrie Sales and Service to be used in the south garage. And it's purchased under a Sourcewell contract, which, as provided in our purchasing guidelines, it's a cooperative purchase agreement. And we feel it's the best offer for the airport.
Okay, any questions for Margaret on the sweeper? If not, take a motion. Okay, Janet, Steve, all in favor? Thank you. 10.4, Margaret.
Thank you. Item 10.4 is to purchase one Chevy Tahoe 4-wheel drive commercial vehicle to be used by our assistant fire chief A bid was used doing the New York State OGS vehicle marketplace. 3 submittals were received and Mohawk Chevrolet was the lowest price received.
Okay, vehicle for assistant chief, or deputy chief.
I got
Motion.
one question.
Yep.
Margaret, is that the new word, the vehicle marketplace for the state contract? So it's a state contract purchase, basically?
Yeah, the state used to do where they would list out the items as, here's the bid, here it is. Now they opened up with this type of vehicle, whether it be pickup trucks or cars. You go out, they kind of put it on the participating agency. We put it out through their form to their approved vendors, and then the vendors send them back to us, and then we notify the state who the lowest vendor was. Bigger pieces of vehicles, dump trucks or whatever, those are still done. Here's the contract award. That's it. Vehicle marketplace is where you go out, you list all your scope, all your specs for what you want, and then it gets put out to 75, probably 50 to 75 vendors.
Okay.
And then whoever comes back, we tally it, we review it, and then we award it.
Got it. Thank you.
That's kind of a new name, I guess is what you would say, Gary. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Steve, move, Sari, second, all in favor? 10.5, Margaret.
Thank you again. Item 10.5, authorization is requested for issuance of a purchase order for both solid and liquid de-icing products for the de-icing of runways, taxiways, and ramps. This is for the ground surfaces, not for the aircraft de-icing that I brought to you a couple months ago. 2 bids were received. Archer's Alpine Solution was the only bidder for number 2, the sodium formate, and item number 4, the potassium acetate. The New Deal de-icing bid on item number 3, the sodium formate acetate blend. And there were no bids on item number 1, the sodium acetate solid de-icer, and we priced on an as-needed basis. I recommend approval to Archer's and No Deal.
Okay, questions? Motion? Barry? Second? Kevin, all in favor? Yeah.
On the topic of large equipment in the upcoming budget, I'd just like to say to the board and whomever else is interested, that shuttle buses, we have a certain number in, and I'm not going to quote the number because I'm going to get it wrong, but the high hundreds of thousands for shuttle buses for next year. We currently have shuttle buses where you don't require CDLs. And I think that, is Katie here? What's the capacity?
13.
13. That's the threshold where you don't need CDLs. Katie's been asking us for the last couple of months, or suggesting that we look at the larger buses, which will require a CDL. So we've asked that Katie and Chris Pasquini, who's in charge of our vehicles, look at the market and report back to us. So we're developing an alternative plan for larger vehicles. And if you want to say what your opinion is on that, she's seeing a lot of people that more than 13 people standing there. And so everybody doesn't get on the shuttle bus essentially. Yeah, so.
We've noticed a great need for new and more shuttle buses. So we are obviously in support of getting them purchased and on the road. So whenever you're ready for your presentation and to bring it on, we're certainly ready to get them on the road as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to. Yeah, we just got a.
I think we voted on that, right? Yeah.
We did. So we're up to 10.6. Margaret.
Margaret, you're busy today.
Item 10.6, as I did a few agenda items ago, we did the HVAC. This is for plumbing. Similar, we go out to bid, we select the 2 best proposers. And this time it's still BPI and Eckert, and as I said before, they've been here, they're familiar with the airport. This is for plumbing services. And we do this every 5 years. We'll go out and get best prices, and we'll use them as we need outside of our own building maintenance personnel. So recommend approval to BPI and Eckert for our plumbing services.
Okay, recommendation is to approve 10.6. Take a motion. Okay, Kevin, Sari, all in favor? Okay, and we'll give you a break after this one, Margaret. 10.7.
Okay. Item 10.7, similar to plumbing and HVAC, we have an outside contractor that does our inside cabling. You know, if it needs a new phone line, their computer line doesn't work, Adirondack comes in, they drop new cables as needed. And we would also use them, you know, in the construction, let's say some emergency happened and we needed to run some sidelines. So, Adirondack cabling, let's see. Oh, they were the only proposer. And they're our current proposer again, very familiar with the airport. And I recommend award the Adirondack cabling for our cabling needs.
What's the hourly rate?
$119 an hour.
Okay. 119.
Yes.
So we have looking for a motion to approve 10.7. If no questions, Steve, Kevin, all in favor? All right. 10.8, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 10.8, I'm looking for the board's approval to issue a purchase order for the purchase and installation of a Siemens Apogee, which is an acronym for I couldn't tell you what. I'm gonna lie and try and tell you I know what they mean.
Appreciate that.
But what it is the control system for all our HVAC. Is anybody a little warm in here today? So it's it's the new control system. Our current control system for all our air handlers in this terminal are 25 years old. So the system itself is outdated. We cannot update it anymore. So what this will allow us to do is put new computers, new drivers, and the new programs, which will be updatable for the foreseeable future, so we can maintain it, update it as needed. And that'll help us control the zone, additional zones, and control balance the air a little bit better. So maybe next time we won't be so hot here. And probably take any questions.
Questions for John? No questions, take a motion. Sari, second Janet, all in favor? Aye. Okay, 10.9, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 10.9 is the request to issue purchase order for the geothermal test or a thermal conductivity test to Aztec Geothermal. They were in the amount of $55,675. This test board is an exploration. Testing is a requirement to complete the geothermal design to get it to fit our needs, and it is fully funded under NYSERDA.
Okay. Questions for Matt? Okay, no questions. I'll take the motion. Janet, second. Sari, all in favor? Thank you. And 10.10, Connor.
Okay, I'll take that, Mr. Chairman. This is a request of authorization for the USDA. This is an annual service contract to address the wildlife hazard mitigation at the airport. It's broken into two categories for the case mitigation of $22,000 and other wildlife hazard mitigation of $49,000. And what the USDA does is they have techniques and methods to reduce the bird population at the airport within 7 miles. They also take care of other bird types, such as pigeons in the garage and other types of birds to reduce any hazards in the aircraft. We've had this contract in place for 20 years now, so.
Absolutely needed. There's only one Sully. There's no questions. I'll take a motion to approve. Janet? Ask our pilot to approve. Larry, second. All in favor? Okay. Let's see, authorization of change orders, 11.1, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, this change order it says change order number 1, but it's actually change order number 1 and final for the roof construction contract that we put out to Titan Roofing. It was been out there for a while. They redid Millionaire Roof. They redid both the roofs at the airfield maintenance facilities. When they did Millionaire Roof, some of the parapet walls have been damaged more than we knew. The wind had taken it more apart than we had realized, so they had to come in and redo the insulation, redo the way they built the parapets. So it was an additional cost, and then also on airfield maintenance, the flashing, we were planning to reuse most of the flashing on airfield maintenance, but once they pulled their roof up, the flashing basically fell off. It's an old building. That's an old Green Island construction building that was bought years ago. So to finish the job, they came in for a little extra. We had them do it, and that way we can maintain the roof and have the warranties valid for the next 20 years. So the change order is for $51,399 on top of a $898,000 contract, and that'll close this job out.
Any questions for John? Seeing none. Kevin, motion to approve. Janet, second. All in favor? Okay. So we're up to 14, adoption of the budget 2025. Margaret.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 14 is for request to adopt the 2025 budget in the amount of $191,387 and $387,340. It includes $117 million of contributed capital, and also asking for authorization to transfer $102,354,000 from the authority to the Airport Authority OPEB Trust. I have a slideshow here. Do you want me to go through it on the screen? What I'll do is present, this is the same presentation I gave in the Finance Committee. I can go through this real quick.
Okay. Yeah, we already have reviewed it, and then the board is satisfied, so. You're off the hook. We have gone over very thoroughly, so we appreciate the information ahead of time. You have ample time to review.
I was looking at some other notes, and I know she said it in the beginning, or when she spoke, but the Finance Committee made a positive recommendation. Did we say that again?
Yes, they did.
Okay, thank you.
So any other
Can we get
questions
a-
from the?
Can we get a motion to approve that?
Yes, we are doing that. Any questions, further questions for Margaret from the board? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt, approve. Yeah. Kevin, second. Terry, all in favor? Aye. Okay. That finishes our regular business. At this point, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session for two reasons: a matter involving a particular individual or individuals, also a matter involving a particular corporation or corporations.
And may I say, Mr. Chair, a matter that could imperil public safety disclosed publicly. That's the TSA. Nothing scary, but it's just a planning. We're going to talk about planning.
Take a motion on executive session. Sari, second. Janet, all in favor?
And John and PSA are the only ones that we need to remain. Bart, you're welcome. Bart and Michael are welcome to come up here.